So I kind of wanted to make this video because I was in a space the other day and these people suggested me the walkaway trend. And I was like, well, what's that? They basically said that it was a trend where people explain why they walk away from the Democrat Party. And I'm very young. I'm only 20 years old. So this is going to be kind of interesting. But really, the whole party in general that I remember as a little kid is not the same that it is now. When I was introduced to the Democrat Party, it was Obama. I thought Obama was cool at the time because I thought he was charismatic, but I was also a child, right? And so when I was growing up, when I was 11, a family member basically pretty much fed me the whole thing that, oh, Trump's a racist and Trump's mean and this and that. So I automatically was just like, oh, no, I'm not voting for Trump, or I'm not supporting Trump at all. I'm not a Trump person. And I used to be kind of more liberal. So I was just not really in the zone to really be supporting Trump at all. And so I did want Hillary to win, and she didn't. And I kind of had a fear that she wasn't going to win anyway, even though I was little and I was very Trump derangement syndrome ridden. I never really was one of those people who thought, oh, yeah, no, she's definitely going to win the election. I was never one of those people. I always thought she could have a little bit of a chance to lose, and I was pretty much right. And so going into 2020, the COVID, the pandemic happened. That was also something that kind of just really didn't make me like Trump because the COVID pandemic was happening under Trump, and it just kind of really turned me off to his politics in general. And I thought he was doing a bad job because I had childish, unrealistic expectations. Looking back on it, I actually think he did the best job he could. He closed down everything way before everybody told him to. And again, even if it was a Democrat who was in power, nobody would have been able to do the best job in the world because it's a virus. One man can't control a virus that spreads around on its own. It's almost like impossible. You can do things to prevent, a lot more casualties, which Trump did by closing down everything early, which the Democrats call them xenophobic for. But in terms of dictating, okay, we're going to just stop it because whatever, that's not very realistic. And I think he was trying to be an optimistic leader by saying, hey, it's going to go away. Don't worry about it. That's what I think he was trying to do. I don't really think he was trying to put anybody in jeopardy because of it. And I think he was trying to downplay it to not really destroy the spirits of the American people. But I also think for him, it was politically advantageous to have the economy open again, which was his good playing card until they basically took it away from him with the COVID pandemic. Because we all know that if there was no COVID, Trump would have won re-election very easily. I mean, that's not really up for debate. He would have won that election pretty convincingly back then. In my opinion, I think he would have done very well. But in that time frame, I still didn't like him until I started doing more research and I realized, wait a minute, Trump, signed the First Step Act, which helped, create, criminal justice reform, basically got a lot of people out of jail for very, very small misdemeanors. I had been there for 30 years because of the 1994 crime bill, which I found out Joe Biden drafted, which about Joe Biden, when I saw that he was the nominee, I wasn't really a big fan either. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Joe Biden either to begin with. So when I saw Joe Biden, I was like, this is kind of weird. Let me start doing my own research into both candidates. And what I realized is there was a deep state that was trying to go after Trump. I realized a lot of things that, yes, Trump did a good job. And at the time I was 16. I didn't really care about gas money or anything like that. I was a child, basically. I hadn't even turned 16. I was basically 15. And so there were certain things that I just didn't care about that kind of came to my attention. I was like, okay, wait, there's no new wars. The economy was good. And I was always a no new wars type of person. And then I realized, wait, Trump's actually the person who had no new wars start under his administration. And the foreign policy was actually pretty solid because he was able to de-escalate a lot of foreign wars that could have potentially happened. So again, another very interesting facet as well that maybe kind of changed my opinion about him. So over time, as I was watching just even funny videos of him saying funny things, I'm like, wait, that's kind of true. And then over time, the media would ask him something or say something that I was like, wait a minute, that's like not true. Why do they keep saying that? And I used to be one of these people like, oh yeah, we trust the news, whatever. But I came to realize that CNN is paid propaganda media. Fox News is also paid propaganda media as well. All mainstream media is propped up media. It all is, no matter what it is, as long as it's mainstream. Independent podcasters and getting your information from there is 100% the way to go, including myself. And so, really, the whole walk away from the Democrat Party at the time was really more of an ideological thing rather than like an economic thing. A lot of people who moved from Republican or Democrat to Republican in 2020 to 2024, a lot of it's like economic reasons, and a lot of African Americans kind of moved from left to right because of the whole Obama thing that he was basically telling, black voters, hey, get in line to vote for Harris or else like we're going to lose. But it's like, wait, you haven't done anything for us. The economy sucks. There's a bunch of new wars. You embarrassed us with the Afghanistan pullout. Also, the story about Bernie getting stiffed the nomination twice also really left a sour taste in my mouth as well. That definitely was a very big, very, very big red flag to me because I liked Bernie Sanders when I was younger. And Hillary Clinton to me was like, okay, like I liked her because I was 11, but I also liked Bernie. And even in 2020, I kind of liked Bernie. I probably would have preferred Bernie over Joe Biden in the 2020 election, to be honest. I probably would have preferred Bernie back then. Now, not so much anymore. But overall, the nomination of Joe Biden was what actually caused me to move away from the Democrat Party. Once he became the candidate, or it was apparent he was going to be the candidate, I was like, okay, let me just do my own research. And then the BLM riots happened because of George Floyd. And then when that happened, it's like, wait, why am I not allowed to go to school and go outside and do anything like as we please, but yet these protesters can go out and burn buildings and do whatever they want? That was what really woke me up and started making me really do my own research, because it's like, wait, why is the news and the government telling us to recommend us to stay inside, not only to stay inside, and keep social distancing, but yet a protesting group because of this event that happened, oh yeah, it's completely fine. They could do whatever they want. They could burn down whatever they want. It doesn't matter. It's like, wait a minute, like what? That didn't make any sense to me. And so that's when I really started waking up as time went on. And then when Biden won, I predicted, everybody's going to be happy now, but I don't think Biden's going to be a good president, because the 2020 debate really showed me that he was just a typical politician that listened to whoever he was going to be serving to. And it's funny because a lot of people actually thought that debate hurt Donald Trump. And arguably it did hurt him with some groups, but I think it helped him with others. I think that I'm basically a personification of the young male Hispanic voter that has been shifting in Miami-Dade County for years now. In 2016, when I was little, I would have supported Hillary when she won the county by 33. Then in 2020, after that first debate with Trump and Biden, I would have voted Trump. And I was still kind of rooting for Biden before the first debate started. And the second that happened, I was like, oh yeah, Trump's obviously the better option here. Because Trump said, you've had 47 years to do all of these things and you haven't done them. Why haven't you done them? And it's true. And then, he was VP. He was a senator. He could have done things, but he didn't do good things that he said he wanted to do at the debate. He only did bad things that hurt his reputation. And also, when I was in California, when I was a kid, they literally taught us in class that the Republicans were the party of the slave owners and the Democrats were the party of the abolitionists. That's literally what I was taught in school in like second and third grade in like Costa Mesa, California, which is like an hour away from LA. And when I came to find out that wasn't the case, I'm like, that's also really weird. How could this party have gone from owning literal slaves to now having their descendants vote for them like 90-10? And I started doing more research into, welfare programs and how Lyndon B. Johnson kind of really didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act. It was just because the Republican Congress was so large that they basically overrode his veto, and he basically kind of just had to sign it anyway. He signed it, but he didn't really want to sign the Civil Rights Act. He didn't really want to do it. He actually has this quote where he says, I'm going to have these people, that's not what he said, but these people voting for the next 200 years, or voting blue for the next 200 years. That was his whole point in having the Civil Rights Act and having all of his new welfare programs kind of come out. And I realized, man, them voting 90-10 Democrat is really a way of keeping them sort of politically enslaved in a way. It's really sick. And it is something that I've kind of came to realize like over time, but it's true. And I'm not saying that because, oh, black people can't decide for themselves. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they act like they don't deserve their, like they feel like they've earned their vote no matter what. The Democrats act like no matter what we do, we're always going to have the black vote. It doesn't matter what we do. And so it's like, well, if you're acting like, oh, they're always going to vote for us, and then they always do, what does that make them? You know, it's like, and then you only serve them during election time, and then you never serve them again. So once I realized that in 2020, I was like, man, this is like completely backwards. Completely backwards. And so when I saw Trump with the First Step Act and when I saw Biden with the 1994 crime bill, I was like, the thing that I was standing for, which is not being racist or not being unfair, that's not what I was. It was the complete opposite of what I thought was the case. So my values, yes, I've gotten more conservative, but my primary values hadn't necessarily changed. It's just that the mainstream media made it seem like the other person wasn't reflecting my values when they kind of were in most of the cases. And now, obviously, I've become less politically correct in some manner. I've gotten older, more conservative, so a lot of Republican policies seem more appealing to me, like deporting all the illegal immigrants, for example. So that is something that definitely over time has also made me change, because I used to also be one of these people that, the families, why are you separating the families? But the same way that a father who gets pulled over for DUI gets separated from their child when they get arrested, the person who's coming in with their family is committing a crime. It's the exact same thing. When a parent commits a crime with a child that's present, that's innocent, they get separated from that child. The same way that when you break United States code of law when entering the country illegally, it's going to be the exact same thing. You get separated from your children. And Tom Homan has also specified that you could also deport them together, which is also something for another, that's a discussion for another day. But it's just really, the Republican Party to me is a party of common sense, conservatism, and populism and economic opportunity, to where I feel like I'm going to be able to afford a home in the next few years. Right now, I don't feel like I could afford a home in the next few years. Now, if Trump doesn't, fulfill his, policy proposal or promises, then that's going to be kind of interesting. And I may be disillusioned. So this is going to be really important for Trump to really prove himself, because in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, I wasn't really paying attention. And it didn't matter to me because I was younger. I wasn't even an adult, but now I am. So this is going to be really important for him to perform well in office, to keep the base he built up in 2024. And so I feel like I am the personification of the young Hispanic that's been moving to the right for the last 8 years. In 2016, I would have supported Hillary if I could have voted, and then now in 2020, it got a lot closer. I would have been a part of the new Trump vote. And then now Trump won by 11 points in Miami-Dade. I voted for Trump now in 2024, as this was my first eligible election. And so that's really why I walked away from the Democrat Party. This was me kind of just ranting on and stuff like that. Wasn't really an organized video, just kind of me giving my thoughts about why I walked away from the Democrat Party. And it was mainly because of Donald Trump's vision of making America great again. No new wars, economic populism, keeping the border secure, making the military the best that it could possibly be. Those are all things that I now strive to have in my country, and he's the only one who could basically go through with that. And if some neocon comes like a Nikki Haley, I won't be voting Republican. I'd probably vote independent, or maybe not even vote. I don't even know what would happen. Also, the social issues on the Democrat side have also gotten really bad. They've been more in favor of LGBTQ plus, which has also turned off a lot of people like myself and a lot of Hispanics as well. A lot of Hispanics are socially conservative, but we're voting Democrat still. But just because they're voting Democrat doesn't mean they're going to agree with you on everything. And so they pushed it a little bit too far. They 100% pushed it way too far. And that's a lot of Hispanics that I know that are older. That's actually their number one reason why they're not voting Democrat anymore. Even if it's not like a MAGA Republican, they're not voting Democrat at all because they just don't like that policy from them. And now the Democrats have these elitist sore losers on their side like Kyle Kulinski, David Pakman, Brian Taylor Cohen, Cenk Uygur. You have all these people, and Cenk Uyghur's a little bit better than most of them, to give him credit. He did destroy Alan Lichtman in the other space, and he's a little bit more reasonable than most of them. But David Pakman and Kyle Kulinski and all these people they manipulate information and they lie to people's faces and they try to be smug about everything and they don't have any respect for normal people. There's a channel called Hard Bastard where this guy kind of watches videos of these people, and Kyle was trying to figure out why somebody would vote for AOC and Trump, and the voter explained, I think both of them are role models in their own way, and I think that they're both fighters and they both have the same New York authenticity that I care about, and I'm from New York, so I voted for both of them because of that. And so it makes sense. It does make sense. But Kyle Kulinski couldn't understand that and called her a low information voter. It's like, well, that's just another fancy way of calling them stupid. You can't really be doing that. If you got to win those people over. Like, I don't think they understand that. You got to win those people over, because if you don't win them back, you're not going to win another presidential election ever again. And so that's it for this video, guys. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to follow me on X and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video just like this. I will see you guys very, very soon.